Whether you are walking, driving, or flying, it's hard to miss Zenda Farms. The metal barns are nestled far back from the road against a forested hillside. The St. Lawrence River and Thousand Islands are right next door, providing cooling breezes and spectacular views. In the 1930s, this was the new way of building barns. A man named James built the first ones, and people liked them so much, they'd ask for barns to be built the James way. The farm has a fascinating history, and now that it's part of the Thousand Islands Land Trust, an equally exciting future. Charlene Green is a Zenda volunteer helping with the new community gardens.
This area, which includes Zenda Farm, is just a wonderful place. So many people in the world don't know about it.
Bob Kittle was farm manager beginning in 1958 and knows the area well.
There's only one thing that's really special about this area is the river. It attracted many of the very wealthy people back at the turn of the century, very notable people.
Ralph Downey's grandparents were the caretakers at Zenda beginning in the 1930s.
Now you'll have some place where people can see what the past was like, and it can explain to them what they did, and how they did it.
Today, Zenda celebrates the past and inspires community activity.
It's like this little piece of paradise. It's this little magical place where there's the sun shining through the trees, and the playground for the kids is all found objects.
But what about the name, Zenda Farms? Like much in the Thousand Islands, there is both a Canadian and a U.S. connection. James Hackett was a Canadian actor born on Wolfe Island. In 1913, James Hackett starred in one of famous players' first black and white silent films called The Prisoner of Zenda. When he retired from Hollywood, he inherited a large sum of money and purchased a 5-story home with boathouse on the St. Lawrence River, calling it Zenda after his successful movie. James Hackett gave the property its name 100 years ago, but today, Zenda Farms still takes prisoners.
We're sitting here in the bullpen area of Zenda Farm, and we grow Hubbard squash, pumpkins, watermelons. There's so much foliage when you grow pumpkins. So 2 of the pumpkins, they probably weighed about 30 pounds apiece, started growing in between the bars of the fence. I took a picture of it. I went home and made a sign, said The Prisoner of Zenda, and got a good laugh and shared it with everybody I knew.
In the late 1930s, Merle Youngs of Youngs Rubber Company in New York bought the property. His hobbies were boating and farming, and he had lots of money and a passion to pursue both.
He took pride in what he did. One day he was out in the field with his limousine, and they, "Mr. Youngs, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm looking at my cattle." He had his limousine parked out in the field. Yeah, he just drove out I want to see my cattle. So, he had some pride in it.
Ralph Downey's grandparents, Melvin and Margaret Stage, managed the big house for Mr. Youngs and helped with the constant flow of guests and friends.
There was a lot of dignitaries that show up or good friends. My mother was, pretty impressed. If they had lobster in the dining room, we had lobster in the kitchen. If they had prime rib, we had prime rib. My grandmother, she could cook. You could cut a tombstone with a fork when she was done the way she could cook.
Having grown up on a farm, Merle Youngs wanted the latest technologies for Zenda.
And having access to some dollars, he pursued his hobby, and it became a very iconic dairy farm. He raised purebred Guernsey cattle. They were the top of the top. He put up milk for the school in little Jill bottles, and it was just beautiful milk. It was just beautiful milk.
Merle's brother Arthur owned a dairy farm in New Jersey. All the new farm technology of the 1930s led Arthur and Merle to start a friendly family milk competition.
And the competition was to produce the highest quality milk that they could possibly produce. So they took all the precautions. There were electric screens on all of the windows, so a fly did not have a chance of living at all. They washed their cattle daily. You could walk into the barn with a dress suit on and it was just so immaculate. It just had a good, clean smell. They got their bacteria count down so low that it did not taste like milk. In fact, one time Mr. Arthur Young's in New Jersey, he took some cow manure, dried it, put it in a tea-like bag, doused it up and down in some milk, called in his executives, set them down, and they tasted the milk, and then it tasted like milk.
Today, the creamery that Merle Young's built to compete with his brother has been reborn. The same ceramic tile and walk-in refrigerator are still in place. Zenda Farms has partnered with Homestead Heritage Cheese of Lafargeville, New York, to introduce a new organic cheese to the area. The first cheese wheels are now maturing in the creamery, with plans to incorporate this new venture into Zenda's education programs. With cheese comes wine, and Zenda has also partnered with local vintner Coyote Moon to plant vineyards. The University of Minnesota has developed cold hardy grapes that will thrive here. Wine and cheese tastings are something to look forward to, but Zenda is already a community gathering place. Walking trails offer views and exercise and a perfect spot for the yearly mutt strut, with prizes for costumes and cooling pools for hot pups and their little friends to practice new moves. If yoga is more your thing, classes are often held on the lawn. The setting is quiet and shaded and attracts a variety of family members. One of the community gardens is nearby, and you'll often see Charlene Green and others tending the plants.
I'm here every day and sometimes all day. It's very important to me. I love playing in the dirt, just digging and watching everything grow. We have so much success with our garden.
The kids can just run over and grab tomatoes from the kids' garden or strawberries and have their snack there, and it's like having a little piece of the world that's not like anything else that's really available.
Tara Clark first saw an ad for Tilt's annual Arbor Day celebration on Facebook.
Come plant trees, and I thought, well, that's fun. I'll take the kids to do that for a day. So they love when they plant the trees that they come out, and I know they're gonna get muddy, and they like getting muddy. They jump on the dirt and they help put the trees in. I love to take my kids to playgrounds, but this is different. It's a cool thing for them to be able to see this ongoing development of the area. In the past, community was essential because you had to work together to build your town or to work on a farm or to just do anything. Here, my kids get to experience that sense of community.
Every year, Zenda hosts its community picnic, an event that brings everyone together. The band plays, the food cooks, explorations are started, and futures imagined. People come from all over the area to share the Zenda vision. There are new ways of seeing things for everyone. There are startling moments that change old beliefs. There is pride and delight that this fabulous property is already doing so much and is just getting started. When you look at the history, the stories, the smiles, and enthusiasm, it's clear that saving Zenda for the community was a fantastic idea.
It's very rewarding for me to see Zenda what it is today. Thank God for some people stepping up and making it a place for the children to learn community. I know that Zenda is going to be here for a long time.